Leviticus 1 through 7. Well, welcome to our fourth book. This is a difficult book, very odd book for many modern readers because we have, well, just different things going on here that we're just not used to. We have feasts and sacrifices and rituals and ceremonies that are just very different from our present culture. Feel free to skim the book at your own speed. I'm going to be handling the next 5 videos in kind of just a format to handle the whole book. So as long as you finish reading the book within these 5 videos, that should be fine. I do find the subjects within Leviticus beneficial. Well, oddly beneficial, I guess you could say, because to understand the book, at least I found this to be true, helps you really grapple with the entire story of the Old Testament and even well into the New Testament. So let's try our best to understand it. When we begin the book, we're kind of mid-sentence. In fact, the first word of the book in Hebrew is the word and. So there's no break between Exodus and Leviticus. And then chapter 1, verses 2 and 3 kind of find the writer in mid-thought. He says, when you bring an offering, bring it to the door of the tabernacle. Well, let's use the 3 words there, you, offering, and tabernacle, to outline this introductory video. Who is the audience that Leviticus was written to? Well, I believe it's pretty clear. It's being written to the presumed loyal Israelite, someone who is worshiping Yahweh, being faithful to one deity, loving that deity, and in response, God is pronouncing that person righteous. He will treat that person with grace and with mercy. We saw that back in Exodus 34. This story then, what I'd recommend is you hang on to this story. Don't let it go, because the temptation for many people who read Leviticus, just that almost hypnotic effect of all this information, is to change the simple, basic story of how a person was to become or is to become righteous before God. In fact, the way we know, or a good hint that we have a different story, or at least a sub-story going on in the book of Leviticus, is that the words in Hebrew, faithful, love, righteous, grace, and mercy, all appear 0 times. This is not a book about how to get and stay right with God. It must be a different story based on the literature we're going to be reading and the storyline. Well, what's the next thing we hear about there in that chapter 1, verses 2 and 3? When you, this person, brings an offering. Well, what has been the story so far in the history of our Bible when it comes to offerings and sacrifices? Well, they've been being given for thousands of years by thousands of people. All nations have been spontaneously and voluntarily putting together a sacrifice or an offering. And usually the idea is one of dedication or thankfulness, and it's almost always in the subject of, or it deals with the subject of, which Elohim are you worshiping? That's the first question you'd ask someone who is putting together a sacrifice. To which God are you dedicating this sacrifice? So notice again how the question is, what is going on here compared to the story we had before? Let's ask it this way. Is there a necessary relationship between offering a sacrifice and being righteous? Well, the operative word there is necessary. There will be many people who would say, well, obviously, if I'm going to love this deity, I'm going to sacrifice to him. However, there are going to be people, because of the situation they're in, think of Joseph in a pit, or Joseph in Egypt for 22 years, probably didn't do this. So is it necessary to do this? We'd say no. We have enough story already in place that you can be right with God without sacrificing. Okay? Well, one more thing we add to this story, of course, is the tabernacle mentioned in verse 3. What we're adding to our story is a home, a literal, well, temporary for now, and later of a permanent home for the deity named Yahweh. He was presumed to live on the Ark of the Covenant, Psalm 99, verse 1. He dwells between the cherubim. And so the story of Leviticus is basically adding a third element to 2 things we've already been seeing, and that is the institutionalization of what we'll call sacred space. The book of Leviticus is really, how do righteous people who have been sacrificing for centuries, offering sacrifices to Yahweh even for centuries, how now do they approach and even go into the house of their deity? That will be the subject of Leviticus.